Welkom bij Univibes. Voel jij dat het tijd is om dichter bij jezelf te komen? Onze Univibes app is nu live. Met de beste meditaties, live sessies van geweldige teachers, cursussen, masterclasses en je kunt je gaan verbinden met duizenden gelijkgestemden. Ga daarvoor naar onze website www.univibes.nl of download gratis onze Univibes app en probeer de app 7 dagen lang gratis uit. Kijk Vibestalk bijvoorbeeld zonder reclame en kijk Vibestalk Extra. En dan bouwen we samen met jou aan een prachtig mooi mediaplatform om bewustzijn te kunnen gaan verspreiden. En hopelijk word je member, zodat wij dit soort gesprekken kunnen blijven maken met een geweldig team van mensen. Want we zijn zelf de creatiekracht, dames en heren. Maar we kunnen dit alleen maar samen doen met jou. Maar probeer hem nu gratis uit. Dus ga naar onze website of download de app gratis in de App Store. Dankjewel. Welkom thuis.
What If This is probably one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Was it?
I was flying to Berlin to go to the Berlin Film Festival. I opened my phone and I got an email from my agent saying, we're not working together anymore. Like, gone. And so like one half of my representation overnight went away.
Jeez.
And I was mortified. I was like, oh my God, like what have I made happen?
You weren't prepared for the answer.
Not at all.
No.
Like, so I would say use and trust in faith, something that's bigger than beyond what we can understand. Because that was like releasing me from a prison, which I didn't want to be in.
But this was before you did those bigger movies, because those were more recent.
The most recent film, biggest film that I did was Firebird, and that came out in 2021. Like, that's the great mystery of all of this, because I dearly love being in films and I love the art of filmmaking, but it's just like, for whatever reason, I've tried to go back that route and it's just like the same thing. It's like, not this way, not this path.
Welcome to a new episode of Vibestalk Extra. Today I'm talking with Tom Pryor, actor and guide in conscious work. In 2021, he was the main character in the movie Firebird, and he tells us about that journey, from being an actor to becoming a guide. Together we explore what it means to experience life beyond thinking and beyond our identification with our thoughts. Tom invites us into a conversation about presence, suffering, change and the possibility of returning again and again to the here and now. A gentle and honest exploration of what it means to truly be with our experience.
So Tom, welcome. You're here in Holland. Super nice to see you. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going well. Yeah, it's very nice to be here and really nice to actually have come all this way to have this conversation.
Yeah, because you don't live in London, but you were in London for a visit or for work, and then you decided, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to jump on the plane, get to Holland, to the north of Holland. Mm-hmm. You've never been here before?
I've been to Amsterdam a few times in the past, but I've never been up to this part of the country, and yeah, it's a new experience for me.
I can imagine. But thank you for making the effort. You often speak about experiences beyond thinking and beyond identifying with thoughts. How would you describe that state to someone who has only ever lived in the mind, lived from the experiences and thought that shaped us? How would you say that works?
It's about like an exploration, essentially, and like a willingness to be open to what else is actually possible, or what else is actually here that is outside of thinking. So most of our day, most of our lives, we spend in a very strong level of what I would describe as mind identification. But when the thoughts are not so present or prevalent, what else is actually here? And so if I would say, like, don't pick up another thought, don't engage in another thought, you like look at what's left, or feel what's left.
And what is left?
Just this.
Uncomfortable.
I mean,
silence.
what you can actually say is exactly that, but that
I
would be like your experience right now.
Yeah.
Like my experience of that would be, I could say like a peace, or also could absolutely be like a discomfort,
Yeah.
and not knowing what's going to happen. But on a deeply experiential level, you're experiencing, let's say, sensations like in the body. So like maybe like this thing that we might call awkwardness or uncertainty.
Yeah.
We're also then experiencing a thought which says, this feels awkward. But you're also experiencing this very happening that is happening right now. So effectively, if we bring it down to the broadest terms, there's like colors moving on a screen of awareness. There's like sound happening, which we could label as a voice. And then there's like sensation of apparent other objects around us. But this is how we can break down experience into pure experience. And then we go into a place where we begin to let go of even objects being called certain things. And this is an invitation to explore what else is this experience, what else is this right now, present moment, outside of thought.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because this is not what we learn, right?
No.
We learn to think, and make your decisions based on thinking. And so how would you say that people should, I mean, it's kind of shutting down the voices in your head, right? I mean, you actually want to get into, I mean, if this is what you want to reach, it's just like kind of a meditative state, or in the present moment, or being in the now, what you've been talking about, without listening to those thoughts. How do you do that?
I mean, in principle, it's really about just seeing that thought is part of our experience.
Yeah.
In daily life, we have it at the forefront of experience, and we identify it with it almost at every moment. But it's actually bringing thought kind of like into the equation of, let's say, 4 or 5 other versions of reality. Like basically being like, what is this without me and you and like cameras and water and candle, but actually what is this experience outside of labels, outside of concepts? And the way to really start doing that is actually to play in the senses that we have. So if you were to, for example, I'd say put all your attention just into the visual field, just into what you see, not with water, because this is thought, chair, thought. We're using thought consciousness then, but actually we're bringing our experience deeper and deeper into this now. Don't pick up another thought, and actually just go like, what is this that happens now? And it's something you feel. It's something we know and we feel, and it can begin to feel like strange, or it can begin to feel like scary, or it can begin to feel like something else. But again, within going thought consciousness, which is like strange. But actually, if we go like, there is just this, whatever this is just this. If we begin to let go of like foot, leg, carpet, all these forms of separation, which we've been conditioned and taught to be like, there's this, and this.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying there's nothing wrong with the mind by any means at all, but the invitation is to go, it's 1/5 of our experience.
Yeah, yeah. And what starts happening when you start doing that? What starts to happen in your inner world, outer world, when you can let go of those thoughts and just see everything for maybe what it is? Is this what you say? Is just observing stuff for what it is without a label?
You could say that you're beginning to experience unfiltered reality.
Yeah.
You're experiencing reality in a way that is not being filtered through, let's say, being right or being wrong,
Yeah.
being welcome or being not welcome, like being healthy and being unhealthy. Like, I mean, this is where duality effectively comes kind of very well explained at the forefront, is that we are spending our entire time on going, one day we'll be complete. One day I'll be rich enough. One day I'll be healthy enough. One day I'll be fulfilled. These are all thoughts.
Yeah.
If we were to just go, okay, what else is this experience without this thought? What else is going on?
Yeah.
We can't, as much as we try, ever be anywhere else but this.
Yeah.
Like, we can scrabble around in mind to be like, well, we were just sat in that room and I ate a salad and, you know, then 3 minutes ago I drank some water. But this is like all contextualizing
Yeah.
whatever exactly this is.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's shaping our reality, right? So everything in our past shapes also who we are and our reality. Just what you said, huh? That we were just sitting there, you were eating a salad, we were just chatting. But if you're living in the now, you're not eating that salad.
No.
Nothing is happening.
No.
And it's funny because I saw or I read something about this, that people who had like a history where they were ill or where they were like an alcoholic, and that they're now saying, I'm recovering alcoholic, but you're not, because you're not an alcoholic in this moment.
Yeah.
And so this past is actually shaping our now, and,
For sure.
and that has like a big impact on it, I guess.
Yeah.
Is this what you're trying to...
In some ways, yes. And go like, are you willing to let go of the idea of what and who you are?
Yeah.
And that's like fundamental to this, is going, every time we engage in a thought, and I don't even want to say your thoughts, but I say every time we engage in a thought which is occurring, it's reaffirming an identity.
Yeah.
And particularly if it's an identity that we kind of really don't want, the identity structure is very clever and is always wanting to grip to something.
Yeah.
We walk through life and go, I'm this kind of a person. I don't like these kind of things.
Yeah.
This kind of thing always happens to me. Well, what if we just let go of the engagement and the thought?
Yeah.
What if we discontinue the conversations with our friends about how we're always being betrayed by the person that we're in love with?
Indeed.
Why does this thing always happen to me?
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, I know it always happens to you. What if we begin to withdraw the narratives that we have about ourselves and put the awareness into the exploration into this very moment?
I get it, what you're saying. I find it very interesting. But what if you had like a really terrible traumatic past? For example, I mean, like a really terrible thing. Your lover died, or in a horrible way, or you were raped. I mean, these kind of things are terrible, and they happened. You can't say they didn't happen. You know, I mean, they did happen. How do you let go of things like that? Is that possible?
These things occur to set us free, like principally.
Okay.
Having had an experience in this lifetime of a lot of suffering, having had like very difficult upbringing situations and a lot of suffering, these experiences happen to us to set us free from the idea of what we take ourselves to be.
Can you explain that?
Sure. So if everything was rosy, if you had like a really rosy life and you never had to worry about anything and everything was always taken care of and you were perpetually filled with a very stable, happy life, would you ever question what all of this is, like why any of this is happening?
No, I don't think so.
And this is quite often where an argument begins actually to be like, oh, you know, well, it's all very well for us in a, let's say, like a very stable, let's say, like country and system and, you know, background and lifestyle and what have you. But actually those who face invariably horrific suffering or terrific loss or abuse or these kind of situations actually is a gateway. Suffering is a gateway into going, what is this? Why does this continue to happen? Who is the one that is suffering? What are these thoughts which are going, you're always wrong, you never do it right? There's a point, and this was in my experience as well, where you just go like, what is this voice that is permeatingly there in the experience going, there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with you, I'll never be fixed. And there's a point where you actually begin to go like, hang on a second, this is thinking, this is where is this even coming from? What is this perpetual looping which is happening? And this is kind of what began to happen, like in my own experience, was there was so much suffering. And I was going, how can I get out of this? How can this stop? Where does the suffering end? And that led me on like all these kind of like questions to kind of unravel. And it's kind of led to whatever level of understanding I currently seem to have. And that is to go, who is the one that's suffering? And this is the reason why I go like, so to answer your question from earlier, which is like saying like if somebody experiences terrific loss, the reason that happens is simply so that they can have the ability to fall deeper and deeper into experience, deeper and deeper into now, deeper and deeper into what it means to really feel. Like when we have something like this as a loss, like loss or death is a really good example of, it makes us really feel or have like a window to feel.
Yeah.
And that is one of like the most inherent characteristics of being human.
Yeah.
Is to feel, and to feel like viscerally, like this experience of being alive here. And the only problem with these things is that we don't want to feel them, or we resist feeling them.
The horrible feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, the unpleasant ones.
Why do we resist them?
Sorry for the coughing, by the way. I've been ill, but I'm recovering, just so you know. Yeah.
But why do we resist them? Like, what is it that we, like, why is that?
Well, because it's, you don't want to feel so shit, right?
Right.
I mean, you rather feel nice and happy. And
yeah. But, like, suffering is an innate part of this experience. Like, some people seem to have it to much stronger degrees and less degrees.
Yeah, I want to talk about that later.
Yeah. We can do this.
We
for
will
sure.
get there. Yeah.
But, like, the reason really that any of it is here is so that the other half of it may know itself. We can never know wellness without having illness.
Yeah.
We can never know, like, grief without having had that love.
Yeah. And I just heard you say the reason that we suffer is to, is to set us free. But how does that work? Do you think this is like a planned thing? Like, is this something that we orchestrated before? Yeah, but I mean, if you say the reason of your loss, but you lost someone who had to die for it. I mean, is this something orchestrated in your life, or is it just random? What do you think?
I think there is a level of intelligence that operates, or let's say runs this entire experience, which we have no even insight into knowing how or why it works. Like, but it's like the most intelligent algorithm of, I don't even want to call it like AI, because it's not AI, but it's like the most intelligent form of medicine or experience or puzzle that could ever be come up with. So I don't think there's even a possible way to answer why it's happening, like in a particular way. It's happening, and it's happening the way that it is, and it's so inherently clever, we'll probably never even know why. But when we look back at it in hindsight, I certainly can say this from my experience, that I look back in hindsight being like, wow, like, all of that suffering led to this.
Yeah.
And it made so much sense in the long run.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily make it easier.
No.
Because it's live in
Yeah.
that very experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you started to think this way, the way that what you're talking about now, did it help you with the suffering, or did it come later? Did that insight come later? Did you already recover from the things that happened to you, or did you actually help yourself with this kind of thinking?
I'd say it's a combination, because I would say that I certainly don't believe that I'm free from suffering. Like, I don't think that's actually possible. I think it's kind of built into the experience.
Yeah, but you're functioning well, right? I think that
Well,
quite all right, I guess.
I mean, I'd say that honestly, on a very humanistic level, like, I still very much do have like moments of being like really triggered by stuff.
Yeah.
And in the long run, it happens so that we can, again, kind of almost just like chip away at another thing that used to trigger us, and now maybe it doesn't trigger us so much more.
No.
But it all came from a lot of suffering. Like, initially, it all came from, like, when I was younger, like, I was always sick a lot as a child, like a lot. There was a lot of very unstable, like, environments that I was in, and like the place of like where the mind was and what I took myself to be, and the narratives in which I grew up in perpetually created this environment of being a very limited self. All of that really like then led to kind of like the questioning of going, what is this self? Who is this self? How can I be free of it?
How old were you when you were thinking about that? Were you still a kid?
I mean, like you could even say like my alternative healing curiosity began when I was probably about 5 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just like going to a crystal shop and wanting to know how I can heal my neck with a crystal. And like, I mean, this was like going like, okay, this is not just the old-fashioned way of taking some painkillers and moving on, but like, I don't know, there was this innate curiosity within me and
But is it curiosity or is it kind of remembering? Because, I mean, what kid comes up with that kind of thought, really? When you're 5 years old, how would you know?
Honestly, I don't know.
That's a good question.
I don't really know. I'd say that there's something about it which like, yeah, was kind of always there. I just knew that there was this experience which didn't feel very good, like a lot of like very strange like health conditions as a child, and like always this way of wanting to like figure it out, wanting to feel better.
Okay. But did that originate in emotional pain, or was it just really a physical thing?
I'd say probably the most part of it is created by emotional. There's a degree of it which was probably like physically inflicted as well, but most of it was emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a small child already.
Yeah.
So you grew up in not a safe environment.
Yeah, you could say something like this.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to elaborate on that. But okay, so yeah, it's incredible what the mind does, right? When you're so small as well, it's just the same story. And then, so you grew up. How long did that take? I mean, how long did you feel that way?
I'd say a long time. I'd say like there was always this innate contraction, like this contraction of being like a self. Like I don't want to kind of make it sound like I'm not something that I still appear to be. But I mean, like in terms of like, there was always a very strong level of discomfort in like the thoughts, in the beliefs, in the things that happened, in the stories, in the people to blame for it. Like all of these aspects effectively build us an identity, which we keep on going back to. But when I did a lot of work in non-duality and really began to look at like the mind mechanism and the mind structure and how we identify, this was very helpful into kind of going like, who is the one suffering? But then the thing that was also important to look at was also, what is this physical experience that's going on? We can, you know, we can kind of get ourselves into the right mindset to cope with pain or cope with something that's happening to us, and be able to be willing to see the deeper meaning. But what is then this physiological response that I'm having to it as well? And this is where, like, when I work with people one-to-one or in retreat or to sort of share more about now, is going, it's kind of like a dual perspective that kind of has to come together. We have to feel safe in order to know it. Yeah. And sometimes it's actually one of those things where you almost have to like begin to teach yourself, your body, what it feels like to feel something that you would never even felt. Like when
It's to trick your body, actually, right?
Yeah.
Or to trick your mind. No, it's to trick your,
It's almost like a, yeah, you could say exactly. It's like a trick, or it's like an opportunity, giving it opportunity to be like, what does joy really feel like? What does expansiveness really feel like?
Also, when you don't actually feel it.
In. Yeah. But actually then really kind of like going into it and actually really working at it against something I do with people, go like, it's, for some people, it feels so alien to feel welcome. Yeah. Like, in this physical incarnation. Yeah. And actually, this is where, you know, I'm sure you've kind of probably, I'm sure, done and know a lot about like shadow work. But this is also where I believe that like light work comes in as well. So you have like shadow work and you have like light work and light.
Can you explain the difference just for?
Well, shadow, a lot of the time, I mean, like shadow was really kind of introduced by like Carl Jung, who was basically saying that like our shadow self is you know, the parts of ourself that we consider to be shameful, and we never want anybody to see, and if anybody were to find out who we really are, then, you know, we'll be thrown out of like the tribe and everything is going to be over. So this is really like the aspect of ourselves which we don't want anybody to see, which exists for everybody. This is how the identity is structured, so that we will never talk about it, so that it can kind of hide somewhere behind, giving us an identity of being a formidable person, something we did in our past, something that happened as a child, something that we did to somebody, or you know, secretly did something like this.
You're ashamed of,
exactly.
or don't want to talk about.
Like shame, repressed anger.
You don't want to be that
exactly
person.
Anything that's kind of repressed. And then I'd say that the degree of light work is really about opening up to what else is available. What else is like possible. Like, what does joy feel like? What does it feel like to be like soft, like with yourself? What does it feel like to even have thoughts towards yourself which are kind? Like for some people, these are actually like for me, like this was not even there. This was not even part of like the mindset programming like software that was running. Inherently very, very negative. But actually it's going like, wow, like what if I did it better than I could possibly imagine? What if this went better than I could possibly imagine?
How good does it get?
Yeah, exactly. Like asking these kind of questions. And it's to kind of basically use the mechanism of mind to open up to also what else is possible, what else is available.
So it's kind of reprogramming then, right?
Yeah, to a degree. It's reprogramming. It's kind of steering things in another direction to actually use this software that we have, like with the mind, because mind will always be here. And so like when we can begin to actually like work also with it, to be like, wow, okay, you know, if we can use it to book a plane ticket or follow a recipe, like why also can't we use it to affirm like a kindness like towards ourselves or to others? Well,
because it's also because we get programmed, right, in at least our first 7 years. I mean, what I know is that we as kids we are in this theta brainwave until we're 7. So everything that happens until our 7th, and maybe beyond, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit later, but so you're like a sponge, right? Like
totally.
So I mean, you get programmed, and it's really hard to deprogram yourself if your environment, for example, doesn't change. So you really have to get it out of yourself to decide, okay, I don't want this anymore. I really need to do it differently. But I mean, that seldom, rarely actually works that way, because you have to see it yourself. And if you're programmed to see it differently, how do you do that? I mean, how did you break free, to say it that way?
Well, I wouldn't claim that it's complete.
Well, you have to. But I mean, you did break out of that thing, right? I mean, of course, you're still human, and you still, of course, experience shit of some days, I guess, like we all do. But I mean, there has been a switch in which you changed your thinking about this, I think. Otherwise,
yeah, I think there's a point where like you don't believe it's you anymore. There's a point where you don't believe like the identification with all of the thoughts are who you are.
yeah,
And it's almost like then there's a I guess there's almost like it seems like it's an irreversible thing that happens, that there's a kind of a split where you actually could be like, okay, I can now objectively see thoughts arising. At times they're completely believable and you're so immersed in this very 5D experience, you're like it feels like nothing ever changed. And then there's the opposite, which actually goes like, there is such a level of like peace or oneness or interconnectedness that sometimes, like an example is, I was in Thailand working earlier this year, and I was sat on the back of a moped by like a kind of taxi moped, and I was just like looking around at all the other people that are there, and there's always like fumes and like there's all this like heat, and there's all this like kind of like fully like immersed in this, and just looking around at all these other apparent people, like, you know, saying all these others, but actually like it's almost like it was a very oneness type experience, that actually like everybody was kind of almost there in this sort of communion of this moment of being. And these moments become more and more apparent of just like this this oneness type experience which happens.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That, I mean, that connectiveness, or how do you say it? Connectedness that you feel. Yeah, that's interesting. Super interesting. And faith, how would you say that comes into the picture? I mean, if you don't connect it to religion, is there a certain amount of faith that you need to have to be able to, well, let's say it again, break free?
I'd say that, like, to a degree, faith is paramount to the moments where you're like so lost.
Yeah.
So in so much darkness. There's a thing that, you know, if you're in the situation where like you're driving down like the highway, you know, like you're in a car crash and the car flips upside down and you're like kind of there and you can't get out, and you're like going, okay, what's going to happen next? And more cars going to come. You know, there's this kind of situation. And I say to people, I'm like going, okay, so what are you going to do then? And nearly everybody will be like, pray, or like ask for help. And like, from whom?
Yeah.
And at that point, it doesn't really matter. Nearly everybody will say God or the universe or something like this.
Something bigger than me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, that is where like, I believe that like faith is like a way of talking back into our experience, like almost like of ourself, and being like, tell me it's not true. Like, show me it's not true. Show me the deeper like purpose behind this all. Show me the deeper meaning. And that's what I think faith serves as, and is really important actually on this journey, I think, is like in sort of my most trying hours. Like, there's been points where I'm just like, I've just got on my knees and just gone like, I don't know what to do anymore, praying to whom I don't know at that point in my life. But really big stuff happened following that.
Yeah.
Like, if it was like really sincere, like I was just like going, I don't know what to do. Yeah,
that you're really giving it out of your head, it out of your hands. But who do you think you're talking to then? Is it to ourselves in the end? I mean, are we answering our own prayers somehow?
I'd say to a degree, yes. It's kind of almost just like the dream that we're wanting to wake up from.
Yeah.
it's kind of a bit like a
dream.
the knock at the door. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I'll give an example of this. Like, so in 2017, I was very much in the film business still, and like I was auditioning all the time. I had like agents in America, I had agents in the UK, like I had like a big team, and just like was having to produce material the whole time.
Yeah.
And I wasn't actually getting any jobs. And I was so burnt out and tired and depressed and just like nothing is going to happen. And I just done like pilot season in America, and just like, it was just like, just endlessly like trying into the film business, and it just wasn't going anywhere. And I remember very distinctly, I was working out in a gym near my house. I got to the end of the workout, exhausted, just like flopped on the mat, like to stretch at the end. And I literally just like pretty much broke down crying, prayed to probably what I would have called God at the time, and it's gone, I don't know what to do about any of this. Like, should I just like leave it all? Should I quit? Like, should it all be over or what? Like, but I was like, please do something, because I can't take it anymore. Yeah. And then I kind of almost forgot about it. The next day, I was traveling, I was flying to Berlin to go to the Berlin Film Festival. And I landed at the airport. I opened my phone. I got an agent from my email from my agent saying, "We're not working together anymore." Like, gone. Okay. Like that. That was with no explanation.
One of the signs.
It was like totally also bizarre, because also I'd had a conversation with her like a week before. She was like, "You don't have to worry about anything. Your team is perfectly like secure. Like, you know, just give yourself a break. La 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 la." Everything like in the lead up to this was like actually going like, but I did this, or I asked for this, and for whatever reason, that's the result that happened. It was just like gone. And so like one half of my representation overnight went away. Jeez. And with no explanation. Okay. And I was mortified. I was like, oh my God, like what have I made happen? Like, or how has this happened?
Well, you weren't prepared for the answer.
Not at all.
No.
But like that's where we also would also like in this context, I would say use and trust in faith, something that's bigger than beyond what we can understand, because that was like releasing me from a prison which I didn't want to be in.
So in the end, it was actually what you wanted, but at that moment it was too big thing.
Yeah, and in some ways I kind of still wanted the human drama of like well, I've been thrown away by my agents, do you know what I mean? And like, so there's this kind of pool that we can have, like we can have the very human, like abandoned, like I want my drama kind of like element of it, or there can be the kind of perspective of going, what if this is probably one of the best things that ever happened to me?
Was it?
Well, I had a phenomenal trip. Like all of like then my obligations were cancelled to have to like stay in the UK, and so I actually went traveling in South America, and I had some really, really amazing experiences in South Africa, like South America, very, very life-changing experiences actually. So yeah, I'd say like in the long run, it was a phenomenal like path shift.
But this was before you did those bigger movies, because those were more recent, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that was in 2000. Well, it was around the time that actually I began writing on this film.
Aha, that's yeah.
But yeah, the most recent film, biggest film that I did was Firebird, and that came out in 2021.
Yeah, yeah. So something happened afterwards that you switched again.
Well, it was almost like that route of doing it that way was being almost like blocked. Okay. And I've tried again since doing it that way again, and every time it's like, no, you're not doing it this way for whatever reason, and I have no idea where this is going. Like that's the great mystery of all of this, because I dearly love being in films, and I love the art of filmmaking, and I love like being in front of the camera and behind the camera and like all of the experience of it. Yeah. But it's just like, for whatever reason, I've tried to go back that route, and it's just like the same thing. It's like, not this way, not this path.
And do you know what the path is?
No. No, other than really kind of like following like a sort of creative instinct. I don't know if it's sort of like, you know, to a degree pushing me to kind of write my own material again, because Firebird was a a co-writing project, which I was initially asked to play the lead in the film.
Yeah.
And then I became one of the co-writers later on, and then I became one of the producers. And it was an amazing way of bringing together this ability to just be like everybody kind of, there's a sort of like a oneness in this way of actually like making the film. Like a lot of job roles were crossed in this production, and it was honestly like phenomenal. And I fell in love with actually putting music in movies as well, and became the music supervisor on this film. And,
oh, really?
And that to me was like transformational. I was like, wow, like this was so cool.
I could imagine.
And the power of music and how it actually allows us and embeds us into be able to feel even deeper was just like, wow. So having written and then sort of like shot the film, and then going into the edit, and then actually like then we have like a final edit and then put the music in, you're just like, wow.
So if you would do another project in film, it would be kind of the same. I mean, it would be more total thing that you would like to do instead of only being the actor, I guess, or not?
It so depends on the project, actually. Like, I would really like that level of emotion again.
Yeah.
Like, or maybe even something like directing. But I would say also, there is something really amazing about being able to just play and act.
And creating, actually,
yeah.
the whole thing, yeah. Just let's go back to what you're doing now, because, I mean, besides an actor, you're a guide. Yeah. Last time we spoke, we weren't sure how to call you, but you're
I don't know if it's much clearer,
a facilitator.
But,
you are much clearer now.
No, I don't think it is.
Oh, okay. But I mean, you're helping people to come back to the present more. A little bit like Eckhart Tolle does, I think. You look a little bit better, that's for sure. But so what is it that you do? What is it that you do with your clients, or can I call them clients?
Yeah.
That you work with.
I'd say that the most principal thing is coming right into this moment.
Yeah.
And doing that not in a way that's just with the mind, but also in the felt sense. Like in terms of engaging like all of the senses, quite often like one at a time, just to, like I said, like put all the emphasis into like the visual field, put all the emphasis into just like the clarity of that. And just to experience it for what it is.
And you do it in multiple ways, right? I mean, you're not just sitting in chairs talking to each other. You're taking them on trips, and you're.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit what it is that you can do? What the possible outcome is of your working with a client?
Yeah, it can be a very explorative experience. Like sometimes we do like retreats, which can be like, for example, we've taken people to Iceland.
Yeah, that
and
sounds
like,
amazing, by the way.
One of my absolute favorite countries in the world. But to be able to be in a physical environment, one of the things I do with them is actually seemingly getting people to be more sensitive. I don't even know whether to call it energetically sensitive, but like to become acutely aware of just like what you're experiencing. There was a really amazing place like on this recent trip that was in Iceland that we drove across where like a national park started, and they've got a very low speed limit. I think it's like 30 kilometers an hour, and you're not allowed to go any faster than this. Like, doesn't matter how many cars are on the road or not.
We're just talking about this in Amsterdam. I mean,
yeah.
it's horrific, but okay, go on.
But like the terrain is literally like loads of very round and quite flat, low stones that are covered in moss and lichen, and this is as far as you can see either way.
Okay.
And the moment that we drove like kind of across the threshold of this this park or this area where it was kind of gated off, there was a completely different shift in terms of like, I don't know what to call it, like energy or frequency or vibe or something. But it was like, ooh, it was kind of a bit like what you almost imagine, like it's like being put through one of those things that rolls water out of like fabric, you know, like those old ways that they used to get water out of the fabric. It's like that kind of thing. This was like happening like almost like to the psyche, like to the visceral feeling in the body was like, whoa, it's like kind of almost being like squeezed like through something.
Okay.
And like the client that I was with at the time, I was like going like, just see if you can, like always like actually going, what do you feel like right now as we're doing this? Just become more and more aware of like your sensation, like in the body, outside the body, and just like, it's just an invitation. It's a curiosity to be like, what are you feeling right now?
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be answered with like a verbal answer. It can literally just be like, just check in with how you're feeling.
And is this in a group setting or is it one-on-one?
It can be both.
Okay.
Like, and so in this case, this was like a kind of one-on-one because we were driving in this particular place, just to the next place that we needed to meet people. But like the way that this happened was so visceral, so felt. And this is like an invitation. So it's like a multi-sensory type retreat. So we're looking a lot at the mind and about mind identification and about the concepts of things like time, like what do we take time to be? Time is always remembered or thought about in the future, but it's never actually here. Like it's always a thought. And then sometimes it's also very physical experiences like being in cold water. Like being in cold water is a really good way to actually like entrain our sort of self to be like, actually I can be safe in something that feels uncomfortable. And so, you know, if you're doing cold water immersion and you're doing it with somebody who knows what they're doing, like they will basically be able to guide you into being able to be in cold water for a certain amount of time.
Like the really cold water, like Wim Hof.
Exactly.
Cold. Okay, yeah, that's
And so you can kind of do this, and then just be like, okay, I have the ability to be able to feel this, and like I'm still okay. And this is the same thing that I do with emotional things that come up with people as well. I go like, can you just stay right now in the discomfort of this feeling, of this emotion, and not jump into the narrative, not jump into the reason why it happens every time like this, or not jump into the person that you hate the most because this is happening. But actually to be like, can we just explore right now this sensation simply for what it is, which is effectively like almost like it's like a hum. It's like something that happens like somewhere. And we can be like, well, it's in my stomach. But like that's also a thought where we're identifying it to be. We can use it to hone in, but then go, what is this without any label?
Yeah, we talked about this, right? I've been working a lot with acceptance and commitment therapy, and actually this is one of the things that we also do is feeling the uncomfortable feeling or the thing that happens and trying to be with it without judgment. Because that's hard.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you say. There is a label attached to it. And this is why we suffer, right? But it's about feeling the pain without the suffering.
Hey, ja, sorry dat ik je stoor tijdens Vibestalk. Maar wil jij nou Vibestalk kijken zonder al die ellendige reclame? En wil je Vibestalk eerder kijken? Dan kan dat. Word member van Univibes. Download gratis onze Univibes app. En kijk dus Vibestalk zonder reclame. Met heel veel meer extra's. En altijd een dag eerder. Dankjewel. Heel veel kijkplezier bij deel 2.
Yeah.
And I think if that's what you can do, disconnect those two things. Because the pain is going to be there. We all get pain, you know. I mean, it happens to all of us in a certain degree. But it's about the suffering that makes life horrible or fun. I mean, I think, you know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Because we've learned that pain is suffering, but it's not always what it is, I think. But can you give me some more examples on how you work then in those cases? Because it's interesting.
Well, I mean, one person that I'm working with at the moment suffers from chronic pain most of the time.
That's going to be there forever, or at least.
Yeah, I mean, medically, it's not explainable, like why they're experiencing the pain.
Okay, there's no medical reason.
There's not actually a medical reason for it, and so this is actually where it's kind of like a curious journey into going like, what is this actually about? Like, you know, exploring what pain is actually teaching us.
Yeah.
And either if it's, you know, as you mentioned earlier, if it's like emotional pain or it's physical pain, there is actually the ability to be able to go right into it, and I would say almost through it, to find it's not what we think it is. Like, pain is not necessarily what we think it is. We think it's like, okay, like it's this thing like that is caused by, you know, something material. And yes, it is, like, to a degree, but actually it's there arriving to point us to something which is actually even deeper than that. And within the depth of that is actually like pure experience, pure, raw experience. And then suddenly the mind would be like, yeah, but we need to get rid of it, or yeah, but it's going to keep on happening. And be like, okay, like these are thoughts, and then just go back with it. Because I'm not saying this is always the case, but you know, if somebody says that they're in chronic pain all the time, I go, is it every second of the day? And I fully like have so much like compassion for somebody who actually would be experiencing pain like this. I'm sure there probably are people who have such an experience, but the general consensus of people who are having painful experiences is kind of intermittent.
Yeah.
And then a thought is just going, it's all the time, it's all the time, it's all the time.
Yeah.
Being like, okay, we'll like notice when it's here and when it's not. And then what happens if we kind of like move towards it, look right at it, look right into it, feel right into it, and then be curious about what's in there. That's something that I'm very fascinated with and do with people, and do actually even with myself. Like when there is like immense suffering, it's just like, because you can go, why is this happening? You can actually be like, okay, let me just slow right down and actually be like, what is this?
Yeah, what is this moment teaching you?
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to come with a mind understood answer. But I had a moment earlier this year where I had a moment earlier this year where I had very deep heartache. Like I got like a real deep, like heartbroken.
Okay.
And it was so painful.
Yeah.
And also, I also had food poisoning at the same time.
Oh,
so I was like kind of bedridden and just left to be with it. And, you know, the conditions are kind of in some ways perfect, because it's like going, you can't go to the gym or go have a coffee or go. I was on a really beautiful island in Thailand. You can't go anywhere to distract yourself with it. You're just like stuck here. And I was like, okay, well, there's nowhere else to go. And so I just was just like, fine, like let this feeling just obliterate me, because I felt so... I was so like kind of depressed and empty and heartbroken and frustrated all at the same time. And I was like, I just went fully into it. And the only way I can describe what happened was that it was like horrible, 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 like deeper, 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 like it's going to consume me completely. And then it turned almost like white hot. And then it went like...
Really?
And I was like, whoa. And then minutes later, not even minutes, probably even seconds later, I was just like filled with so much energy, like to the point where I actually went to the gym. Like, and I was just like, where did this come from? Suddenly it's like something like went through, and I still don't actually completely understand like what it is in terms of a way to describe it. I can only really describe it in terms of an actual experience, to kind of go right into something. In it, through it, but not even... You
didn't fight it. I mean, you just let it...
Yeah. You just like almost like forward roll into it, or whatever it is. You
couldn't get any more of it probably, and then it was just done.
Yeah.
Was it?
I mean, it was pretty extraordinary, like whatever that was. And it's kind of almost as like there was something so transformative in this.
That's beautiful.
That's kind of what I also attempt to get people to do.
Oh, because, that's it. Yeah. Now I get it. Okay.
And like it's really like this willingness to feel. I think that's like, again, something that I really do with people, and I really think that there's a lot of healing in feeling.
Yeah.
And coming out of the narrative and just going like, let's just like plug into fully now, like what is here. Like, I can't remember, maybe we said it like last time or not, but I had a bout of like jealousy or something arise, and like, and this was actually quite recently, and I was like, I hadn't felt jealousy, I didn't think, in a long time, and I was like, it was just some person I was like looking at online, and I was like, oh, like, and then I was just like, what is this feeling? And actually just did the same thing, like went right into it, being like, okay, let me just really feel this jealousy, and it felt so, in the end, like invigorating when we don't go, I shouldn't be feeling this, but actually going, I'm gonna feel it, gonna like try it on, like fully immerse into it. And it was like, wow. And it kind of almost like does this thing about almost like passing through, but it's not doing it to pass through it. It's kind of just doing it just to kind of like feel what it feels like. And it's so visceral that it's something quite curious.
Yeah, so actually you're not avoiding it. So it doesn't stick. You just go through it. You just let it happen.
Yep.
And then it's gone probably earlier than that. It just... Yeah, I've lately, I also had some, well, I don't want to call it intrusive thoughts, but like that you have thoughts about a person or about situations or whatever. And that I'm thinking it, and then I'm thinking, geez, that's quite ugly that I'm thinking this, you know, and that I'm really trying to look at it that way. Like, why am I thinking this? Why is it bothering me so much? Why do I think these things about that person? Because, you know, I understand the situation he or she is in, but I still have these nasty thoughts, which make me like also think like, what's wrong with me actually? That I, you know, it's not the same, of course, but it's like I'm looking at it, you know, and that's already, I think, a step further than not looking at it and just thinking it.
Yeah, totally.
But I do. I find that interesting, you know, to think, okay, why is this happening? Or a situation where I'm in, and then I'm thinking like, did I create this myself? You know, that I'm now in this situation, what I don't like at all. I mean, I don't think those kind of things when I'm in a good situation that I'm just enjoying and then it's good. But when it's a negative or a shitty situation, and I'm thinking like, what did I do that I got here? You know, what happened? What was going on in my head? And I think that's very interesting what's happening, because it also makes you look at yourself from a different perspective. Is this something that you recognize? No.
Well, I mean, to actually, you know, it's a very good example, and to go, you know, in that situation where like there's let's say like an intrusive thought. This is I find this a very curious and interesting place to inquire around, because a lot of the time we can get very shocked by what appears, or be like, what, like, you know, you know, you can be holding a knife, and then like there's an image which can come in the head, and it can be like your housemate, and then be like, what if I just stab them? You know what I mean?
Intrusive.
Like, and then suddenly we go like, oh my god, like I'm having these kind of thoughts. And it's
I've
like,
had those thoughts.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, like everybody has these kind of thoughts, or it's a bit like, you know, you stand on the edge of a cliff and you're like, what if I just jump off?
Yeah, or when you're driving in a tunnel and then what is that?
It's thought consciousness.
It's terrible.
And that's actually...
It's shocking.
That's actually, in some ways, that's as simple as it is thought consciousness. Like, as in it's thought happening, trying to basically place like a description or a commentary on top of just what is. And it's sort of basically, again, trying to do this thing of building an identity structure. Trying to build an identity, like, so if I have a thought about being like, what if I stab this person? Then the other thought then goes, oh no, but like, but both of these are the same thing. Like, this is both, like, all of this is thought consciousness, which is just its thing, like, happening as part of this whole elaborate experience of whatever on earth this is. It's when we over-identify with it. And then be like, oh my God, I'm having these kind of thoughts. Like, what if it happens, like, someday? And then when we start really...
What if you act to it?
Exactly. Like, you start really going into more and more thought consciousness around that. It's an endless loop. It's actually the only point we kind of get out of that. And normally when people experience such things like this, you know, they don't hang around. Like, it's like there and then it's kind of gone. But there is the possibility for that to take a grip, just because that's what mind does. It has to kind of make a grip, and then there's like oh my God, I'm having these thoughts. And then there's this thing that goes around it being like, I shouldn't be having these thoughts. What's wrong with me? Blah, 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 blah.
Indeed, yeah.
And then we kind of, before we know it, there's like an angry ball of thoughts all kind of like interacting with each other.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're just sort of here. Consciousness is just sort of here. And then this is all happening, but we're kind of getting right inside it and going, oh my God, this is who I am. But actually we can just go like, okay, like this actually isn't who I am. That's just that.
Yeah.
But the thing that's also interesting with this is that it is important at points to acknowledge that, feel it is one possibility, and be like, okay, what does it feel like here? Just to kind of like tentatively be like, okay, I can feel that. It doesn't feel very good. Kind of like, so we're not basically kind of going like, this is nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going, okay, like this is here, this is present, this feels very uncomfortable. And it passes, but it's part of like the experience of being here. And bigger than that, like the kind of final part of this is the clarity in which all of this happens is all of this. So all of consciousness, all of this being here right now is the backdrop in which that happens. And that is just one part of all of this.
Yeah.
And so to pull back into what I would almost like describe as like clarity or nowness or presence, it's like going like, yeah, there's this angry ball here, but there's also like this stuff here and that stuff there, and there's also the sound, and there's also
anchoring again.
Like, it's again going like, look at the feel, the hear, the expansion, the clarity in which that happens.
Yeah. Is that a way to get away from those kind of things when they're happening and when they're starting to take over, for example? Is this something that you advise to be aware of everything else that's going on at the same time?
I would say it's very much in the case of a case-by-case situation, because this is also very real, the thing that we just talked about, very deep fixation and psychological disorder actually also is in this realm. So it kind of really would be very much like case-by-case basis. But if there's even like firstly, actually, one of the most important things to do actually with this kind of thing is exposure, to tell somebody about it, or even to write it down, or even to just get like the air in the room around it. Because the dangerous part, seemingly dangerous part of it, is identifying with it. But actually you go like, as you said to me, like, sometimes I have these thoughts. Like the amount of times I've had conversations with people and be like, yeah, like I just thought about like stabbing my housemate and just not even because they were even angry with them. It's just because they're chopping up the potatoes and there's this pointy thing in there. But like this happens and people get really spooked by it.
Yeah.
Like really, really like spooked by it, and sort of like being like, oh my God, like I don't want to have like this sort of dormant murderous tendency or something like this. No. And most of the time it's really, really not the case. I mean, we are in a realm in which everything happens, but most of the time this is just like thought consciousness really flaring up, and we can be like, okay, it's a thought, which is then counteracted by another thought, and things move on.
Yeah, yeah. Why do you think we feel the need to fix everything for ourselves, to be fixed?
Because there's an inherent identification with the fact that we think that we're broken.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And how is that? Why?
It's a good question of why. I mean, I think that the reason that it exists is because a mind must always seem incomplete, because it's always looking for something to complete itself. It's like it's not very common for the mind to go, you know what, I feel so complete. It's always like, well, I kind of felt complete momentarily, but now I want one of those.
Yeah, now I've got that. I've got that. Yeah.
And I mean, that moment of acknowledgement is very rare. It's almost like it would be a very deliberate thought choice to be like, I feel very contented with everything I have right now. Almost be like an affirmation or something. But like the nature of thought is to continually look for something else, look for something better. It's a survival mechanism.
But isn't that also part of grow? I mean, if you have what you wanted, you just look further to get more. I mean, it sounds a little bit selfish, or I don't know. I do have those moments that I can sit outside in the sun, you know, with my cup of matcha, looking at my animals, whatever, and be like super, super happy. I do have those moments. But then I think, it would actually be nicer if I also had that or that.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could also say that's the movement of the nature of consciousness. Like that's the whole experience of the whole game that we're doing here, right?
Yeah.
It's like to forget and remember that, like, we're all of it. Like of the few experiences that I've had where you could say it's a very deep seeing of oneness, or a very visceral experience of something like a bliss, or an endless purity of wholeness or something. There's a moment in which thought comes on and goes, isn't this going to get boring?
Yeah, probably.
Do you know what I mean? Or isn't there something more? And the very place where isn't there something more is the birth of the mind, is the birth of like change. Or you could even just call it like the continuous expansion of the Big Bang, like whatever you want to call it. It's like the waves don't turn off like at some point, like in the sea. They're not like, I've had enough of that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the waves keep on waving, like the seasons keep on changing, and this is the nature. Is like we are in a completely changing realm. It never sort of flat lines here. It's never like, well, this is the same as yesterday.
Our only certainty, right?
Yeah.
Change. Yeah.
And so what is it actually that's consistent through that is the present moment.
Yeah. Are we ever enough?
I don't even know how to answer this.
Surprise question.
Like, as in terms of like, because are we ever enough is like almost like it's like a dichotomy for the mind to be like, is it possible to reach, you know, completion or something like this? That's a really good question.
Well, you can chew on it. Well, you know, we're conditioned to chase outcomes and to always get better and better, and to make sure. Well, also only, I mean, not even when it's only better, but we just want to know what's going to happen, right? I mean, it's just what we've been talking about. We never sit still, or you might do that, but we never sit still in the present moment and not chase anything, because we're always busy what's happening in the future. But actually, that future is never going to happen because it's always now. In the end. So it always keeps us busy with another moment than being here.
Well, I mean, that's really the trick of it. Like, if, you know, can we be enough, or can we actually just go, this is enough? Yeah. Like, you know, in sort of Zen Buddhism, like, they're like, the kind of core really of some part of this is really kind of going like, just be entirely in what you're experiencing, and don't make anything. Like, don't make anything with the mind. So as in going like, you know, if you're drinking a coffee, you drink the coffee. And like, if you're watching the bird, you watch the bird. Yeah. Like talking talks, sitting sits. And that's actually it. If you remain more and more there, experience will continue to happen, talking will continue to happen, meetings continue to happen, life continues to happen. It's just that we're not living
You're more conscious of what's happening at the present moment.
We're not just like living in, you know, dare I say, like a hallucination of something that's not even here. No. If we're having this conversation now, and actually I'm thinking about, like, I really want some of that banana bread that was on the table, and why didn't I have some of that?
I was thinking of the wine, actually.
It's like there's this certain level of disassociation, which is happening, because it's like going, this is it. Yeah. where's the wine? Like, where's the, you know, banana bread? Like, it's not even here.
No.
It's probably
we know
gone now.
it's there.
Somebody's drunk it all, you know.
Yeah.
But like, that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's like more and more is actually just like now, less.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think it makes us happier? Isn't that what this is all about?
That's a good question. Is it about being happy? Is it about being happier, or is it about just being more conscious, or even just dropping deeper even into like truth?
But that, I mean, that I think that's the same thing, because it makes your mind still. And that's, I think, is making you happier in the end, right? If you can call it that way. I mean, if you were talking about joy, then I think a mind that's going on and on and on and on and keeps you busy with the future is not, per definition, making you happier.
I'd say that, yeah, as much as if we're fixating all the time on something that is not this, then that would be causing like the resistance and the frustration.
Yeah.
But actually, if you go, you can't be anywhere else but here. We actually just go like, all right, I give up. Like, you can't be anywhere else but here.
Yeah.
Then like, soak it up, like in all of its richness, because we can't be anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what do we do?
Stay in it.
Even it's uncomfortable silence.
Totally, because that can be fascinating. Like, I have sat with somebody who I went on a retreat with, probably for about an hour and a half, and we just looked at each other.
You looked at each other?
We looked at each other.
It's funny. I did that exercise with a few people.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
I think it happened. I think we actually ended up doing it for about an hour and a half, and it wasn't like some kind of competition. It was literally just like going like, wow, this is so curious. Because like, what actually happens is that you just perceive, and the mind reveals itself. It's like discomfort, planning, challenging, what's going to happen next, discomfort, is this still happening?
Discomfort.
And yeah, exactly. And it's a very way of kind of just like shining the light on just the way that the mind works, really, just so you can actually just learn a bit more about how it takes you aside and kind of keeps you feeding it. Yeah.
It's so funny. If you do those kind of things, you also see so much in a person's face, eyes, expression. It's ridiculous what comes out of it. It's just like you can almost read its emotions, I think.
Yeah.
What I said, I did it last week. We had that exercise, and not for fun, by the way. I had to do it. And suddenly I saw so much sadness in that woman's eyes. It was ridiculous, and I never saw her that way. And I just, well, she truly exposed herself. It was incredible. If you just be still and look, like really look, instead of wanting something out of someone, you know, just giving that person your attention. It was incredible. Yeah.
It's like it can be like a mirror, which, like one of these mirrors that goes on forever. When you look in a mirror and there's another one that's there, it's like these endless.
Those are creepy too.
Yeah.
But it was uncomfortable in the beginning. But after a few minutes, because we didn't do it for that much amount of time, but after a few minutes, I thought, okay, just be old enough to not giggle and be stupid, you know. Come on, you can do this. And then after I got over myself, I really actually looked at her and I saw that, and that was incredible. Yeah, it's weird what happens then. Yeah. Well, it's interesting though. It's super interesting. Oh, it's funny because we have been talking about these kind of things already, but every time something else reveals and we get more to the surface. Many of us have bodies that only know how to feel fear or control. How do we begin teaching the body to feel joy, freedom, and aliveness? How do we do that?
One of the best ways to do that is to sit and actually just, I mean, I would actually say that it's a kind of, there's kind of several different elements of actually like how you can actually approach that. But one of the best ways is actually just to sit and be like, wow, like what does it feel like to be joyful? Like actually go like, what is almost like the frequency of joy? Can also really help with like music and something like this. This is actually where like I really like bringing in music to retreat, because it really helps with the capability to feel, particularly like elated feelings, like joyful feelings, but also things like sadness. Like music can be really great just to like have a good feel, have a good cathartic cry. But like to begin to listen to music which actually fills you with awe, which fills you with wonder, and then begin to, you can actually even like begin to use the mind in some ways to begin to like imagine, or even just like imagine yourself in circumstances or places which actually begin to do it. Like I recently did it, and I was like going like just imagining, I think it was even just like walking down the street, like wearing clothes that I like absolutely love to wear, and like with the right kind of music. And it's almost like you're beginning to teach your body how to experience it. Another way that I actually find is very useful is that you almost write down how you want to feel, and almost like situationally what kind of context like that is almost created in. So like they said, that like this thing of like walking down the street and wearing like a fantastic outfit, and some people noticing and being like, damn, that is an amazing outfit. And like this kind of begins to engage like the mind like into using it like the way it kind of should be used. But also like a physiological thing begins to happen like in terms of the body, and then if you want to can start bringing in something like music into it as well, and kind of before you know it, you can actually literally begin to, like my experience of this has been like I actually almost begin to feel a different chemical reaction happening in the body.
So you're actually
physiologically
attracting with your emotions, because I think you're emotionally changing, right? Because you're feeling this joy, you're feeling how you want to feel, so you're starting to tune with your future, or with the picture you have in your head as how you want to feel. And is this then attracting, isn't that like the law of attraction, that what you emit, that you're getting that back as well?
I mean, that really depends on if you're doing it like for an intention, like for something else to like change in your reality. And I think like Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot. In terms of like the thought sending out the signal, and the feeling creating the sort of emotional charge, like drawing it to you. I mean, I'd say that kind of in this regard, it's like something almost that I would sort of say to people to use like playfully, not even necessarily for material gain, but actually just almost like to do it like for the joy of doing it. I mean, you can do it for like whatever reason actually. Is like, you know, if it feels really good to you, it would be like, you know what, I actually want to feel more joyful, I want to feel more confident. Actually to go and do something like this. This is important, and I think that the conditions can be created actually to do that, because it's so important to do this in combination with shadow work. This is where what I would almost classify as light work is beginning to open up to new possibilities, open up to what it can feel like. This is where like psychedelic medicine is really good, or breath work, or things like this, like expansive type experiences can be like, whoa, there is so much more bandwidth.
Is this also what you
experience.
do, what you use for people, like breath work and psychedelic experiences?
I have quite a lot of experience with psychedelics. It's not something I actually do with people. But it's certainly been life-changing, like for me, like the experiences that I've had of that. And then like breath work I'll do with people. I'm not a breath work facilitator, but like gently kind of like just being aware of the breath. And sometimes we'll do something slightly kind of more activating, but not like deep journeys, but something I've done some holotropic breath work and things like this, and these can be deeply like cathartic experiences, or deeply like cathartic, processy, expansive experiences afterwards. And you're like, wow, I feel like totally different. And like I said, I think this is crucial to to like going after mind identification and shadow work. And the lightness is so important to bring in, particularly if you're working with somebody, or particularly if you have a background of a very, let's say, like a darker past or a challenging upbringing, or a lot of like grief or sadness or abuse or suffering or something like this. It's paramount to start training yourself, the body, the system. And this is what I do with people and with myself, is to actually be like, wow, what does it feel like to just be gentle with yourself? Like, that's even like a place to start. Like, what does it feel like to switch your mind from like hating on your body or judging your body to being like, wow, like actually I'm going to give it like kindness, tenderness. Like I noticed this actually even when I was like sick last week, and I was like going, there's some kind of level of like thought going on, which is like you've been ill this many times this year, and you shouldn't be doing this, and like here you are being pathetic in bed, and blah blah blah. And I go like, how is this helpful at all to this situation?
But isn't that old programming because you used to be sick as a child?
Could well be, for sure. And it's sort of, you know, there's sort of like bits in there, and you know, you could even say the sickness is happening to help these things come out of the unconscious to the conscious mind, and be like, do we really want to carry on interacting in this way, like actually with ourselves?
But then you're also observing your own thoughts, and that is, I think, crucial for these kind of processes, right?
Yeah. It's simply because like they are running like a lot of the time like completely unconsciously. Like the deeper like I go into this, the more and more you're like, whoa, like I've never even seen these layers of like mind or awareness before. And then when you go like, wow, like what actually is it like to like lie here in bed and actually either just be in peace, or actually just to speak in a nurturing way to the body. I mean, neuroscience shows us actually all the proof of this is that how you speak to your body or how you feel, it's almost like they say like your cells are spying on you, or how you speak to yourself is paramount to your own health. Yeah,
Dolores Cannon was talking about this as well, that you really have to talk to your body as like you're talking to all your cells in your body, just telling them how amazing they are and what a great, incredible job they're doing.
Yeah.
Because I did that last week because I was feeling so horrible. And I seriously think that it works, really, because I feel that it works, you know, to give credit to that amazing machine that is actually, you know, working for us day and night.
Yeah, the gratitude for even when we're feeling sick. Like I was talking with my housemate about this last week, and I was like going like, I was so sick.
Yeah,
but I was like,
we had the same thing, I think.
But like the gratitude for actually being like, I can walk down the stairs.
Yeah.
Like I have the ability to be able to do that. I was like, yeah, I'm like really like sick with like cold or whatever, but I was like, I have the ability to be able to like move my arms. Like I have the ability as well to like turn on the tap and there's water. Like the gratitude that begins to actually happen with that, you can almost viscerally feel what that does like to the system, rather than being like, whoa, here I am again.
Yeah, because that is also, I mean, that is a thing that you're getting in. It's like a loop, right? Like a negative loop, like a spiral that's bringing you down. And I can imagine that if you turn it around, then you're going up again and getting better.
Yeah, I think that it's paramount to get the good news in. Like, because so often, I think there's a really big emphasis a lot of the time on dealing with the bad news, or dealing with the past, or dealing with everything that happened to us.
Yeah.
And we can keep doing that for years and years and years. I'm not discounting any type of therapy, but I'm going, we also need to get the good news in. Yeah. Being like, it's not happening anymore. It's here.
Yeah, and you can't change the past. So, I mean, it's also actually kind of no use to stay there, you know? I mean, that's easy talking, and I know that, but it's not easy for everybody, and absolutely, if you had traumatic experiences, it's not something that you can just, you know, talk like that. But I mean, it is true that you can't change it anymore. So you have to go from here and further. It's always what it is.
You have the set of circumstances that you have, and like, I've not had an easy set of circumstances, like as of, I'm sure you have, as of like so many people have had. Like we wouldn't be having this conversation if we've had like a walk in the park kind of a life. And like it's through those very those sufferings that actually that have made us go like, there must be more. Like, where does where does this end? Like, and actually, how can we kind of like turn it around? And then again, like, yeah, you have the felt sense, which you have in the present moment. And that's what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Like, it's just this here now.
Yeah.
We can complain about it or go like, I don't want it anymore, or I wish I have a different incarnation, or whatever it is. But like, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think life is teaching humanity right now at this moment, the time that we're in? Sorry.
To be more conscious. That's actually, I think actually it comes down to that. Like, to be more conscious, to realize what actually we are. Mm. Because the more we blame or segregate or say it's their fault or abdicate responsibility, we're continuing to create more and more separation, me and them.
Yeah. But
actually, we have to see what it is that actually unites us, what actually is the commonality, and also like the being open to the bigger picture of the teaching from it all, to become more conscious.
Yeah. Do you see it happening around you?
That's a really good question. I'd say
maybe in an inner circle.
In a way, I'd say yes. Yeah. There's definitely a willingness to. Yeah. I'd say that it fluctuates, like, for sure. But I'd say that we're in an amazing movement, and it's almost just like the volumes of everything are going up, like to kind of. It kind of be like the same way that suffering works. It's like, in some ways, the suffering levels have to rise to be like, does it really have to be like this? Like, and I think that in some ways that's kind of really what's happening, is that the suffering levels have to rise so that we just go like, there must be more. There must be a way to end this. Like, who are the ones suffering? Like, what is suffering? Like, I mean, these really principal questions that begin to get asked. And that's when people tend to turn towards wanting to know the truth more than anything else, rather than complaining about what's happening.
Yeah, but there is a lot of happening outside of us that we can't really influence directly. Maybe, I mean, maybe we can, but I mean, a lot of shit is happening around us, right? I mean, in the world, it's kind of a mess, though. So where do you think? How do you think we should react to those kind of things? Because it's something from outside of us that we take in, and this is also shaping our reality. How can we discard that and, you know, become strong from within ourselves so that we can withstand those kind of things that are happening, that they don't affect us so much?
The way that we'll respond to something is always teaching us something. So if we are reacting to something, being like, oh, this is happening again. Yeah. It will finally land on us to be like, who is the one suffering? Like, why do I continue to constantly react in this way? What are my fixations on this particular political subject matter, or this particular like economic situation, or my particular work situation? The fixations are actually always showing us the way to our own freedom. Like, that's the thing. Like, I really see and believe that the places that we have these fixations are always paving the way to our own freedom. And actually, that is our own personal responsibility. So whoever it is in the world, or whatever it is in the world that's sort of your apparent fixation, like in the particular direction that it's coming, that is your pathway actually to freedom, to be like, why is this driving me so crazy? Yeah. And actually to go like,
it's a personal thing,
into the feeling of it, though, as well. Being like, actually, one of the avenues of it is actually to feel the rage that it brings. Yeah. Because actually, kind of a bit like we were saying earlier, with those experiences, those emotional experiences, they can be absolutely transformative if they're gone right into and through.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think, is there, if there was one thing you wish everyone would deeply know, what do you think that would be, should be? about himself, about us as a human being?
So we always have a choice in engaging with the narrative or not. Like we always have the choice whether we believe the character or with the content, the context in which it's happening in, if this makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit like going like, we always have the choice to be like, oh, this human, like, almost like human incarnation is so painful and so believable right now. And then we can really go down that route to have like the knowledge and the wholeheartedness to go completely into that, but also just to be like, I guess like this is not a very articulate way of answering the question, but also just to kind of know that it's not what it appears to be. It's not like, it kind of feels like everything and like all the life is going down the toilet, but actually like the illusion of it is it's not what it seems. Like it's almost just like these things always end up sort of settling back down to the ground. Like it's like almost like the waves of consciousness sort of like rise up and writhe around, and it's like a nightmare, and it's crazy, but it always ends up like settling back down into this like kind of calmness in the end.
Yeah.
That would be, I don't even know if that's something tangible to be able to
but
answer.
I think I get what you mean, but also if you don't react, that it always will end up being this or that, and it doesn't really matter, and you can choose how to react to it.
Yeah. I think that's a very, articulate way of putting it. Because it's kind of a bit like, you can have all the drama, and you can have all the ferocity and all of the like railing against it, or you can actually just have the like, it is as it is.
Yeah.
Like either way, it all succumbs down to like this sort of calm state of presence, being.
Yeah. Well, Tom, thank you. Thank you for this beautiful interview with you. Is there anything we didn't cover that you want to say to our listeners, watchers? Is there something that you feel is very important to mention?
That I'd say that every moment is giving us the possibility to drop deeper into truth, into now, into being, and that it's always here. It's never too late to start something, end something, be something, withdraw from something. Like, there is only ever now, and no past and no future has any hold on this right now.
That's very hopeful. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming and joining us today.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and share. That will help Univibes spreading the word. Thank you very much.